Hey folks, welcome back to Mark Kelly Farm. It's lunchtime, so we're going to make something for lunch. Stick around, we'll give you the recipe. So as a kid, the only canned soup that you could get me to eat was the bean and bacon soup. That was my favorite. I really didn't like the flavor of anything else. As an adult, of course, my taste buds have changed. But instead of making the canned bean and bacon soup now, we got a recipe for bean and bacon soup, and we'll show you how to make it. It's not hard, and it's really good. So left over from breakfast, we have a half a pound of the bacon that we used. If you don't have that, obviously cook you a half a pound of bacon and then pull it off to the side. Save about 2 tablespoons of your bacon grease, which we save all of our bacon grease here on the stove. And to that, you want to add about 1.5 cups of chopped onion and about 1 cup of chopped carrot. If you enjoy celery, you could add celery in here as well to get the whole trinity going. So we're going to put this on some heat and we're going to soften these vegetables. Now, if you grew up in the era that I did, you started realizing when you're eating this stuff like bean and bacon soup, you're not going to find a lot of beans or bacon in that soup. Just like pork and beans, I challenge you to find any pork in pork and beans. There may be a little 1/4-inch square of pork fat floating on the top when you open the can. All of this stuff is a lot better homemade. You figure that out as you get older. And that's what we're making today. Homemade bean and bacon soup, baby. As our vegetables are starting to sweat, we're going to add probably about 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, which is 2 good pinches of my pinches. You figure out what your pinches are. And then we're going to add some pepper as well. Probably 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, depending on your taste. And that oil in there will wake these spices up. And that's the only spice this dish calls for, is salt and pepper to your taste. So our vegetables are starting to loosen up. We've got our bacon chopped up, and we have some garlic ready to go into the party here pretty quick. Alright, time to add our garlic. We're going to add about 2 cloves worth of chopped garlic into the pan. And with the garlic, you just kind of want to wake it up. You don't want to get any color on your garlic. So we're going to let this simmer for about a minute. And then we're going to add some chicken stock. And it's going to be right at 1 quart of chicken stock if you've been canning chicken stock at your house. If not, just go for 32 ounces, which that's 1 quart. So whatever it takes. Alright, we've gone about a minute. So we're going to do a whole quart of our chicken stock. To this point, we've been cooking on high, and we still are. Now we're going to bring this chicken stock up to a simmer. And we're going to let it simmer for a little bit to loosen up those carrots, because carrots do not soften as fast as the onions do. And as soon as those little pieces of carrot are cooked through, we're going to move ahead by adding our beans. Alright, we've been simmering for about 5 minutes now. Everything's nice and tender. So our next step is to add 3 pints of beans or cans of beans, whatever you've got. If you don't have canned beans, use cans from the store. The ones from the store are generally about 15 ounces, which is short of a pint, which is 16 ounces, and they did that on purpose so they can make more money on you. But normally you'd probably use white beans, but we're going to use 1 can or 1 jar of brown beans, 2 cans of pinto beans, which is going to be fine. Use any beans you want. So they're going in. Beans are in. We're still on high. We're going to bring this up to a simmer. Once we come to a simmer, we're going to put it on like medium low. And we're going to let it simmer for about 5 minutes or so. and then we'll do our next step. If you've never canned beans, they're one of the easiest things there is to can. Go check out our video on how to can beans. Literally 2 ingredients. And when you can your beans, you don't have to cook them all day long. They're already cooked. You can add them to whatever dish you're going to add them to, or just warm them up and eat them plain with a little salt and pepper, or make refried beans really quick out of them. Very good thing to have in your pantry. All right, we came to a simmer. We reduced the heat, and then we simmered for about 5 minutes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our immersion blender here, and we're going to blend this soup, breaking up the contents of it to where we like the consistency of the soup. Now, if you don't have an immersion blender, you could take about half your soup out of the pot, put it in a regular blender, blend it up real smooth, and then pour it back into the pot. You would get the same effect. So let's get this in here and show you what it looks like when we're done. All right, let's take a look at that. See what we think. Yeah, that's just fine right there. So just go to whatever consistency you like. There's still some beans and stuff left in there. So our next step is we're going to throw in about 3/4 of our bacon. The reason we didn't put the bacon in before is we want our bacon to actually stay in pieces instead of being blended up. Got 3/4 of our bacon in the pot. The next thing you want to add is 1 cup or 8 ounces of tomato sauce. We're using our homemade stuff, and we'll stir that in there and bring it back to a simmer again. Now, as per usual, right before you're done, you want to retaste for seasoning, for salt and pepper, because you never know how much salt your bacon has in it or other things that you add to the party. So right when you're done, I added probably another ½ teaspoon of salt and pepper to this. Now, if you like a stronger flavor profile, other things you could add would be some ground thyme or some chili powder, or maybe some cumin would be good in this, but I like the lighter profile for the soup. All right, we are done, and the longer you let this sit, the better it gets. Just like any other thing, if it's good today, it's fantastic tomorrow. So let's serve up a bowl of this stuff. There it is, folks. Doesn't that look amazing? Now, if I know my wife Kelly, she's going to add a little bit of our zucchini relish in that too, because she loves it that much. Now, if you admire these little bowl koozies that we use here to keep us from burning our hands on a bowl of hot soup, my mom makes these. She doesn't make them to sell or anything, but it's about time to do another giveaway on our channel. So I looked back the last month in our statistics, and the person that showed us the most love in March was Terry McKinney, and we appreciate you, Terry, being such a loyal subscriber. We're going to send you out a pair of these. So if you PM Kelly on Facebook and give her your address, we'll get a pair of these sent out to you. It may not be the same pattern, but we'll get you a set out. So if you don't have Facebook, we'll figure out some other way to get them to you. So we appreciate you watching the channel. Congratulations. Now, doesn't that look so much better than what you dump out of one of those cans? I think so. So I hope you try this recipe. It's fantastic. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here on Mark Kelly Farm.